Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to my morning drive. It's kind of the time of the morning, time of the day where I can kind of get whatever's on my mind out, just kind of clear my head on the way to work. Hopefully your Monday's off to a good start or a good finish, depending where you're at. Hopefully it was a good day for you. Hopefully my day will go quick. This is that 9 to 5 grind that I mean, so many people hate to do this every day. I mean, I'm one of them, but I don't do the 9 to 5. I do 7 to 3. So it's but you still got to go ahead, get up, and make that drive every day. So anyway, hopefully you had a great weekend. I didn't do too much of jack shit this weekend. I mean, I was literally just. I tried to think of what I've accomplished this weekend, and it's been absolutely nothing. So literally this whole weekend was spent just watching television. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody was like, "Are you going to watch the Super Bowl? Are you going?" And I was like, "Why? You already know the outcome." And they're like, "Oh, you're such a disappointment. You're gonna miss it. It's gonna be such an upset." And I said, "No, it's not. Let's be real. I mean, we can pretend, but I'm going to assume now that it's 6 o'clock this morning. I have no idea who won, but I'm just in my head. I pretty much already know who won. So I'm gonna go ahead, and when I get to work today, I'm gonna let it be a surprise. Now I could be totally off base. I mean, maybe there was an upset and I missed a great game, but yeah, I don't think so. I just don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a great game to begin with. So if I was a betting man, which I am, I would have probably bet that there's no upset in period. Oh God. So what went on this weekend? Anything exciting? Let me think. God, man, I wish I got a couple emails from you guys, which I appreciate. But I don't know. I don't know how to answer them. I mean, I'm not. I think what it is a couple of these emails were more personal in nature from your side, not from my side. I don't know how to answer them. I don't feel comfortable because I don't want you to take what I say and use it in your making the determinations you guys have to make. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and I just don't feel comfortable, answering some of the questions I got because they were, they're about your lives. I mean, it's great to say, hey, what do you think about this, or what would you do? And that's kind of what your questions were. But I'm afraid if I tell you what I do, you might take it too literal. I mean, you might listen to me, and that's not what I'm an individual. I'm totally different than the situations you guys have described. Yeah, I would never. Hang on one sec, guys. I'll be right back. I'm gonna. Well, good morning. Could I have a large diet Coke?
Anything else today, sir?
No, that'll do it. Thank you.
All right, come on around to the second window. I have that total for you.
All right. That sounds like Mallory, our regular girl. Second window, she said. Nope. Guess not.
107, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess it wasn't Mallory, guys. Sounded like her.
You have a great day.
You too. I'd say have fun, but you're working, so. All right, take care. Yeah, I know. Bye. Yeah, definitely not Mallory. All right. So, yeah, going back to what I was saying, guys. I mean, I definitely appreciate the emails. So if you want to email me, go ahead. It's povamerica@outlook.com, and I definitely, I take them all. I really do. I read them and I try to respond. But there was, 2 of the emails I got this weekend. You guys kind of described your situation, what you're going through right now, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's one of the benefits of being kind of anonymous in the whole realm of things. But I just don't feel comfortable answering the question simply because what I would do in those particular situations, and each one is distinctly different, but both of them were, like I said, 2 different emails from 2 different people, but very distinctly different circumstances and situations, and neither of them I feel comfortable talking about, just because I don't want to be a catalyst to anything you decide, because both of those are really sensitive things that if it ends up where I end up costing you a relationship or you do something stupid and then blame me for it, man, I don't want to have to deal with that. But I mean, I can tell you why. I can tell you what I would do in those circumstances, but I'm just hesitant. I'm going to think about it. I actually just read these this morning, so I'll think about it when I go to work here a little bit. And maybe on the evening drive, or maybe tonight, I'll talk a little bit more about them, and I'll see if I want to address them. And then we'll go from there. But until then, just hang tight. Don't do anything crazy. Let me think about it and just find out if it's something I want to touch on. Because, yeah, they were definitely emails I was not expecting. Normally, most of the emails are kind of funny and, give me some suggestions about making the stream better. Every now and then I get a serious one, but these were both like, wow, really serious ones. And I'm not like, Dear Abby. You would just write, Dear Abby, and this lady would write you this back. There's a newspaper column back when newspapers were newspapers. But she would be like kind of your answer lady that would tell you how to, answer those questions in life. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just so different on a lot of, my taste is not the taste of most people. I laugh at off-color jokes. I don't take it too serious. I don't get offended easily. If something is politically incorrect, it just doesn't bother me. It rolls off. And a lot of people aren't built that way nowadays. They're so sensitive. Everything, take everything so serious. And I just never have. I've never been that way. A lot of people joke. If you call, like, for example, just like the racism thing. Boy, you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, even in jest or joke or be as a comedian, and boy, it blows up in your face. I mean, everybody wants to come back and point a finger at you and say how bad you are for using that language. And to me, call me a honky, a cracker, call me whatever you want. I don't care. I mean, I just don't get that offended by that kind of stuff. And you got to take it and, you have to take it in the way it was intended. I mean, if somebody comes out and calls me a derogatory name and they're upset and they, what? Number one, I just consider the source. If they're an idiot, they're an idiot. There's no, if it was if it was intentionally meant to hurt or whatever, then I just simply say, well, that's the way they are. They're an idiot. Can't change them. I don't even try to. A lot of folks don't understand you can't change somebody. You can't make, one person isn't going to be able to change another person. So it's kind of funny when I watch these people beating a drum and doing all these, we're going to go ahead and have a movement on this, a movement on that, and I just laugh and I'm like, are you really that stupid? I mean, movements are great if you want to have them in your little communities, but racism is racism, bigotry is bigotry. You know, you're not going to change individuals or groups of individuals just because you say it's wrong. They have to come to terms and see that it's wrong. You know, so it's kind of funny. I was watching, I can't remember when I was watching a BBC show this weekend, and some of their humor, you know, you got to appreciate the British, you know, the humor that they have. Some of it wouldn't fly here in the U.S., I'll be honest with you. People would be, all up in arms, you know. But then you don't know, because you see things like The Simpsons and The Family Guy that are so incorrect on so many different levels, but yet they're still on the air today. But they're funny. I mean, you know, to me, do I laugh at The Family Guy? Yeah, I laugh at Family Guy. I laugh at Simpsons. I mean, are they politically incorrect a lot of times? Yes, but you know, you can't take that shit serious. So let me see, what's going to happen this week? Today, Monday. Oh God, I hope it flies by. I don't know. I've been kind of thinking about it. When the weekends come, they go by so fast, and then during the week, the week kind of just sputters by. It just kind of happens. You get in that routine. You just get up at the same time. You go to work. It's that, what do they call it? The grind, I guess, you know. And I really, truly, I dread getting up in the morning sometimes when I have to go in, especially when my days, you know, sometimes you already know your day, what your day's going to be like. And today, you know, I know my day's going to be just, see, that's the one thing about my job. I'll never complain about the job being hard or difficult, because I have the tools to do the job for the most part. I mean, there are still some issues that I need to iron out, but for the most part, the job itself I enjoy. And I think that's the key to anybody who's working. You really have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, I mean, I would do something else. I mean, because I don't care how much it pays you. I don't care how much money you're making. If you're miserable, some people say, well, I'll put up with the misery because the money allows me to do what I want to do. But, you know, to me, it's like you're only on this planet for such a small amount of time. Wouldn't you want to increase your joy in every aspect of your life, not just time off work? Wouldn't you want your work, if you have to work, to be enjoyable as well? So if you're not enjoying the work, is there something you can do that makes it enjoyable? Because that's like mine, you know, the job I have, man, I'm going to tell you, it was a tough grind. These last probably 5 years that I've been doing this in this field. Worst field to be doing this job in. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know, for those of you that have been watching if you've been watching, you know I work in a prison. Okay, I work in an environment where every day I go in and my job is to teach these inmates computers and technology and teach them, because many of them they've been in jail for years. They haven't had exposure to Windows 10 and, you know, all the different things that are out there. They don't have that. So my job is really to teach them and show them how they can use technology to their advantage, and, you know, how they can use technology to help them get jobs and everything, and of course to teach them. The idea is when they walk out of here, they have a certification for the industry. They have the ability to get other certifications. You know, these are the things that I really truly try to make sure I deliver to them every day. Now, given the environment, you have to understand, these are, you know, I never realized really what a prison, because for those of you that have never seen a prison, never been in the inside of one, hopefully, if you've never, you just hear about, oh, that person's going to prison. You don't really know about what a prison is. And, you know, you think you know, but you don't until you've worked for one. its own city within a city. It's unlike anything I could describe. It's it's got their own medical in there, their own dental, their own psych. They've got their own commissary where the inmates go to buy food where they're raked over the coals for pricing, and they're literally. But all the inmates have their own bank accounts where their loved ones can put money in, unless they're indigent. They don't have that, but it's just this whole little microcosm that you just can't imagine. The fights that go on, they beat each other up. They beat up the actual officers. Get in fights a lot. They stabbings, and there's people get killed. It's not something that you really want to expose yourself to, or your family, or anyone else. So it's kind of, to work there. Yeah, it's a very stressful environment. But in the same sentence, I would say it's more stressful for the officers than folks for me, like in the job that I do as a teacher. I don't get intimidated easy. So, and most of actually, I'll say this, in the 5 years I've been doing this, with the exception of one or two that wanted to, because there's sometimes they like to test you when they get into your class, and they want to kind of show off to the other inmates in there, to let the other inmates know that they're Billy Badass, and whatever so there's only been a couple times where I've actually had inmates kind of I'll just say show their ass to me, basically, try to be tough. And the way that at least the way that I handle things like that, I'm in a very unique position as the instructor. You come into my class and you basically say, hey, look, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I have to make a choice at that time. If you're going to be difficult and this is how you are, then I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that you're not part of my class. But if I feel that there is something there and you're just having a bad day or whatever, you've got to kind of feel it out. But, I've had a couple that come in and they just had a chip on their shoulder, and I took that chip right off their shoulder, and I explained to them in no uncertain terms that, it's not going to work. And I did it in such a way to make sure that all the other students saw what happened. They were a witness to it, because I want that to reverberate through the rest of the facility of how I teach, or how I am as a teacher. And I'll give you an example. The one person came in, and to actually enter the class, to be in this, you've got to sign a contract that says you'll do what you're supposed to do. You're serious about this, because I don't want you to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. I want to make sure everybody gets taught. I don't want to just have somebody in there who's going to be a negative influence on anybody. So you have to sign this paper. You have to make sure that you're going to be a good fit for the class. And I had one that refused to sign it, and he just decided to be an asshole. That's the bottom line. And first thing that happens when somebody does that is every single student in the room looks and watches intently that situation to see how it's going to be handled. So if you kowtow to them and say, oh, well, okay, you don't have to sign it, it kind of, they feel that they can push you around, because it's all prison is a bunch of people testing a bunch of other people to see how much they can push and get away with. That's really, truly what it is, what it amounts to. So in my case, I told him, I says, look, you're mistaken. You think I'm asking you to sign that, and I'm not. I says, I'm telling you to sign it, and if you don't want to sign it, then we have an issue. Otherwise, just sign it, we'll get on with the class. And he said, he threw it at me, so I'm not signing nothing. Actually, he didn't say it like that. He said it in a much more derogatory fashion, but the gist was he threw it back at me and said he's not doing anything. Now, my response was, all right, man, no problem. And I grabbed my paper and said, good, do me a favor. I said, get your shit and get out of my class. And he looked at me and I said, you heard me, get your shit, get out of my class. And he grabbed it all up and he left. Well, see, what these guys don't remember, the facility I'm at, it's a programs facility. So that's the people that go there, and the people that are like transferred here are people that they want to get a GED, they want to do better, they want to get in programs and learn welding and computers, and they want to learn all this stuff. So when they come to our facility, a lot of them are motivated to better themselves. You still get the occasional one like I had to deal with that doesn't really want to be involved with anything. But the thing is, to have them be in the facility is kind of toxic to the whole environment. So what I did is I went to my, we'll call him the principal basically, and I said, hey, let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. He doesn't want to be part of the program. So next thing you know, this guy comes running to my principal because they basically told him, hey, you're going to be shipped out to a real prison. See, these guys, this is called Camp Cupcake where I'm at. It's not a real prison. I mean, it's a tough prison, but it's nothing like a real prison is out in the real world where you have to deal with the people that are like killing and stabbing in the yard, that type of. This is very, very comfortable place to be for inmates. But anyway, so he got word that he was being transferred to a real prison, and he went running back to my principal. And you guys have heard this story before, I think, if you've been watching, but begged the principal not to ship him, and said, "Oh, I'll sign whatever paperwork he needs. I'll do this. I'm so sorry," and really groveled. And the principal said, "All right." He says, "You know what?" He says, "You go back to Mr. Johnson. You apologize, and if he lets you back in the classroom, everything's fine." So he came back in front of the whole class, and he was, literally, I'm not even making this up. He was literally in tears. Tears come down his eyes, telling me, "I'm so sorry, but I'll sign whatever you want, and I don't want to be shipped. My family, I get visitation here. They don't live very far," and he went through this whole thing, and everybody's watching. They want to see if you're going to be merciful and you're going to let him back in class. And I explained, I says, you understand what I was asking you to do by signing this. It wasn't anything that was a big deal, right? It was something that I gave you an instruction to follow, and you made a big issue out of it. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I know. I'll sign it, this and that." I says, "But you understand you were wrong, right? And when somebody asks you to do something, especially in this environment, you need to do it." "Yes, yeah, I'm so sorry." I says, "All right." I says, he goes, "So I can come back into class?" I said, "No." I says, "I'm not letting you back in my class." So anyway, he ended up getting shipped. I have never had another problem from any student in my class ever. They just know I don't play. And the thing is, did I feel bad about that? For about this amount of time, just a very, very small amount of time, I felt bad. But I used him to make an example out of the other guys because I don't want to seem unreasonable. And over time, my classes have all learned that I'm not unreasonable. I will give them leniency when I can. I do everything that's in my power to make it better for them, make it easier for them to, be successful in what they're doing. But I draw that line, I'm there to teach you and instruct you, and when they don't listen, they're just like kids in high school, but these are adults. These are full-grown adults of all different ages. Some of them have done 10 years and 20 years, and some of them have, a lot longer to do. So, I could be merciful, I could be easy, I could be a certain way, or I just think that in the situation as I thought it through, I thought it really was truly a better way to teach a life lesson to this guy. Because obviously, if he was at Camp Cupcake, and he was not, and he was going to be a Billy Badass where I'm at, then let's see him take that to another real prison with that same chip on his shoulder and see what happens. And I had somebody ask me, well, what if he ends up getting killed? What you'll learn in prison is, if you end up getting killed, you usually brought that shit on yourself. I hate to say it that way. That seems kind of cold and callous, but the bottom line is, you do what you're told, you respect those, and and you'll get the respect in return. It's not that everybody in prison. It's not like if you ever watch Shawshank Redemption, great movie, by the way, but very much how it is. I mean, you've got everybody kind of stays to themselves. I mean, it's not something that couldn't happen. I mean, it very well could happen, but chances of it happening, if your attitude is adjusted properly, and hopefully that's what I did. I hopefully adjusted that attitude and showed it's not going to get you anywhere except make things worse, which it did in his case. Now, I don't know. Like I said, working in prison is very, very different than any place I've ever. Most of the time, for those of you that don't know my background, I've been very, very blessed to be able to do kind of whatever I wanted to in life. I mean, I've been able to do whatever I've set my mind to do and whatever I've decided that I enjoy. I've never worked in something. I've never had to do a job that I didn't enjoy while I was doing it. In other words, like, even growing up, I savored experience. I wanted to do different things. I was never content doing one thing. And the funny part is, I started out like so many other people do, when you're young and you get into, like, I've worked at, my first job, I think I was maybe 15 or 16, I think. And I was working, I think I was 15, and I was working as a dishwasher at, like, Mamma Mia's Pizza in Michigan. It was, the funny part was, it was a job that I enjoyed. I enjoyed doing it because it was not, the restaurant was a busy restaurant. And it was one of those jobs where I would be done with the dishes before they could come in. I mean, I wanted to be the best at doing it, and I was. I mean, everybody that worked there even said, compared to everybody that they had ever had, that I was the best one because everything was clean and done quickly, and and I didn't complain about anything, but I enjoyed it because it gave me a chance to become the best at what I was doing, and it kind of, that's just that work ethic that was kind of, and then as I got a little bit older, I did things like I worked at a nursery where, moving plants during the summer from one place to the other, and, very hard manual labor type of a job, but you know what? It was fun while I did it. And that's kind of what life is all those experiences that we do. And then I worked for a company called Sound Engineering. I got to travel all over the state of Michigan, all over the place, to repair sound systems. This is, for like Taco Bell and restaurants, and I would service these sound, background, like news acts or whatever you want to call them. But it was fun too, because I got to see all of Michigan parts I normally wouldn't have seen. So yeah, it was, as I said, those are the type of jobs that you kind of like. And as I got older, I started my own companies. I did my own thing. I retired probably 3 times now already. I'll start a business, build a business, and get rid of the business, sell it, and then I kind of retire. And you're always looking for new challenges, new things. I mean, that's kind of how I am. I want something new. Matter of fact, just recently, I started a software development company not to compete with Facebook and Google, but instead, I've started this company to have it acquired by Facebook or Google or Amazon or whatever down the line. But if you ever get a chance, if you want to get an idea of what I'm doing, you can go to Foodaddle, Foodaddle, Foodaddle.com, and that was a company that I started. It's a software development company for social media. Great idea, great concept, and I'm just starting to put it back because I started and was getting things rolling before the hurricane happened. And once the hurricane happened, I had a couple investors that they were going to put basically $2 million into the development of, so I could finish this development of the software. And when the hurricane hit, both of them came. They're from California, and they said, "Yeah, you've got to be in California or you've got to be in Arizona. We can't do this in Florida. You got to be somewhere where you're just a few hours away." So they basically gave me an ultimatum: either California, I'd have to, basically be, or they actually have buildings and facilities in Arizona that they own, which I would have space in Arizona. So they're very open to the investment of for the company if I relocate. So we still go back and forth a little bit. But the biggest, I'll tell you what, if for anybody that's ever started a business, I don't care if you've ever started and owned your own business, one of the biggest things you don't want to do is you don't want to give up too much of your business up front. And that's kind of where we're at right now. They don't understand that, I don't want to give up more than 10% at this early stage. And they've already seen the idea, they know the concept, they know everything, what this company's potential is, but they're greedy. They want 30%. And I says, no, I'd rather not develop it. I'd rather not do anything, and then take that big of a loss in the beginning, or give up that much. Now, it's not to say that by the time the product's complete, they wouldn't have 30% or whatever. That's fine. But in the beginning, for the initial investment, to me, the 10% was really where it's at. If you want to invest, I'm not asking you. The investment itself is not a large investment. It's $2 million. And I know that sounds, a lot of people go, oh my God, that's a ton of money. It's really not. In the whole scope of investments, $2 million for a software development company that's in social media space, dealing with advertising and marketing and all that, $2 million is nothing. You'll make that in your sleep. But it's really to give up 30% of a company for $2 million, that's not going to happen in my case. But anyway, that gives you an idea. My background has always been business, technology, and innovation. That's what I've done in the past. If you ever Googled my name with Deutsche Post patents, you'd actually see I've got almost a dozen global patents. These patents are used by Department of Defense, Eli Lilly, Pfizer Pharmaceutical, U.S. Post Office. These are patents that are, technology and process patents that really, truly, I enjoy. These are all mine. I own the patent. These are, I'm the inventor, the sole inventor of everything. It's what I've always enjoyed doing. I love building things, and I think that's kind of why the attraction of streaming came, because I kind of. It's that channel. When I look out there and I see hundreds of channels, thousands of channels, tens of thousands of people streaming, it's an opportunity to build something, but have it grow on its own. See, so many, your businesses, anybody who starts a business, you have critical mass you have to maintain. You're going to have to get enough people to buy your product to be profitable, or your service. But with live stream, it's kind of like, you're putting it out there. Whether you have one viewer or 100,000 viewers, it doesn't really matter. You can be a success at anything you want to do. So, I was kind of thinking about that. Yeah, there is definitely a desire in me to create things and build things, and there always has been. But I look back at my life and everything I've ever wanted to do, I just kind of went out and did it. I liked radio and television broadcasting, so I went out and I was an executive producer in Detroit, major market, on a radio station out there. I mean, I've never been held back. People say, well, you got to go to school for. You know what? If you can do the job, if you know you can do it, you can be proficient at it. I mean, I'm not one to say you don't need school. I mean, I went to college. I wouldn't say I'm the most educated person, but I'm fairly educated. I went and I took the classes I wanted to take and that I enjoyed. But I think it's your quest always to be better and do something. At least my quest was always to do something fun, new, exciting, where there was learning opportunity. If I wasn't learning something, I hated the job. It's just like the job I have now. I don't hate the job, but it's starting to plateau. I love doing it. I love hopefully making a difference in these guys' life. I mean, just one person. If I reach just one person who leaves my class and goes out and utilizes what they were taught, man, that makes all the difference in the world. So it's not that I hate the job. It's not. I really love making a difference, but it's starting to plateau. It's starting to be like there's no more challenge left. You know, there's a challenge in reaching these students. There's a challenge, but it falls back into the grind. You know, we were talking about the daily grind. You can almost do it in your sleep, and all of a sudden, so I've tried to find ways to bring something into the classroom that I enjoy, to make it exciting, to make it fun for these guys to learn. Because that's really, if it just becomes a 7 to 3 type of a grind where I'm just going through the motions, I've got to move on. That's why the software development company I started was really to compensate for what I'm doing now, because, and I hate to say this, but what I do is kind of a mindless job. You can do it in your sleep I've got it in such a place where it's very, especially if you know what you're doing, it's very easy to do my job. Teaching is not hard. Reaching students, making them understand is not a hard job. It's hard if you're a bad teacher, but if you're a good teacher and you know what you're teaching and you have a great way of communicating, I've never had one single person fail my class ever. And they don't. I mean, I don't think I've ever had anybody that's gotten below an 80, below a B or a B minus in the class. Great tools, great resources. So, anyway, guys, I'm getting close again to. So we'll start losing the signal in about a minute or two here. So do me a favor, if you watch this, if you hung with me during this morning drive, follow me. Follow me on Twitch if you can, or subscribe on whatever whatever broadcast platform, streaming platform you're watching me on. Subscribe or follow me on that if you can. I'll go ahead. I'll do the afternoon drive on the way home. I'll go ahead and read a little bit during lunch, see what's going on in the world, who won the football game, that type of thing. But I'll do the afternoon drive, and I'll see you again tonight at 7. And I hope that hope you guys stay with me. And as I said, we're still making some changes to the channel, and I'm trying to come up with a kind of a new twist to it. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to sweat the things that are in place right now. So have a great great Monday. See, I thought it was Friday. Have a great Monday, or if your Monday's ending, I hope you had a great one. So tune in tonight, tune in this afternoon, and we'll see what other stuff we can come up. And I'll lose you in a second, any second now. Alright guys, I'm pulling in right now, and sorry about that if I lost you for a second. This kind of drags, the signal's out here. This prison is way out in the boonies, so signal sometimes come and goes pretty easily here. But I will see you this evening at 7 o'clock. I'll make sure I have a stream going for you tonight. And we'll just do a quick one, maybe 30 minutes, a half hour. Unless we get, people talking, then we'll definitely hang in for the length, a longer time. And then I'll do the afternoon drive, and we'll kind of deflate and decompress from the day. All right. Have a great Monday, everyone. Thanks for hanging with me during the drive. It's good to just be able to BS and have some folks tuned in. Hey, have a great one.